What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out to Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvault, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Yun Cat, Dank, David Rakia Gafford, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, get there in the end, F.E. Diplomat, Fireball X, God Rockin', Henrik86, Jeranism, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Matt, Nagara, Naibai, Qatar Craig, Ryan Hart, Renee, Sally Ballis, Skeptic936, Silver Umbrella, Texas Mike, The Flat Earth, Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock App, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker and Tom Hawkins. So a massive shout out of appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now, we are actually in the in-between stages between two live debates, so I'm going to pass you over to both the Discord and G Plus panels, who will be in a moment reintroduced to themselves, having been on mute for a while. Hopefully it won't cause total chaos, but you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for the next live show.
It's that simple.
I don't know.
I'm scared.
I'm scared. Quiet.
I'm so glad I told you I wouldn't be around to talk, setting up for the live show and stuff. My little insurance, so there's no endless dead air. Glad I told you all.
Hey, I tried, man.
Yeah, there's no
I'm trying to get one of the ballers to tell me about the first few molecules that started this atmosphere. I want to know about those pioneer molecules that said we're not going to act the way gas acts and expand into the available volume. We're going to stay right here. We're going to form this gradient because we must. We can and we must. So, yeah.
No joy then.
Makes sense.
If you're not getting any reaction, nobody's saying, yeah, sure. We have these gas particles defying all laws of entropy. No?
Nah, I'm fishing for a reaction, but it's quiet.
But the gas just doesn't want to go there, you know? They want to stay cozy with one another, even though it's their nature to expand in all directions. They just like Earth too much.
And I did have a baller tell me that not all gas molecules have the same elastic collision effect, or whatever the word is I'm thinking of. So they're not 100% elastic in their collisions. So they can stick sometimes when they slightly stick with one another when they collide. So the baller.
Slightly stick, these unbonded molecules.
Yeah, they're bonded and unbonded at the same time. They approximately stick. Or
So
approximately collide.
Then unbonded.
Paul, if you head to Master B, I'm gonna post something in there. If you could pull it up, I'm gonna post it in a minute.
Okay, I will. I'll pull it up.
What is Master B?
Skype group. Masturbators.
Gotcha.
Okay, I see what that meme did to you, Nathan. It put you in a bad frame of mind this morning.
What did?
You said master B. Just think about that for a second.
That's what it is. M-A-S-T-E-R.
Okay.
He's a master
Put
debater.
a masturbate.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
old. It's old. We know.
The original name of the group was Mass, M-A-S-S, Debaters. That was the original name of the group. I know because I named it. And then presumably a few people in the group went, oh no, that's clearly a play on masturbators. We'll change that. So I don't know who. Someone changed it to Master, M-A-S-T-E-R, B.
Yep.
You should change it to master debaters.
That's basically what it was originally. I'm almost there. Once I've got a setup, we'll go live. Albeit to a limited audience in the second channel. Subscribe to my second channel if you haven't already. Link in the info box below this video. That's where these weekend live shows go out.
Lots of people going to D Live these days, including myself. How about you, Nathan?
Nah, not as yet. There's people in Mirror various different sections of Owen Benjamin's material, so I do actually get to keep up with him on YouTube. That sounds terrible, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. But there's more than just Owen Benjamin these days on D Live. Lots of people. And if I remember correctly, even Jaren's pretty much moving there. And it's getting bigger, and I really like how fluid the platform works. It's quick and has these hilarious little picture memes that you can put, like stickers they call them, and they're just freaking hilarious. And it's a well-designed system. Should check
Fair
it
enough.
out sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure I will at some stage.
Paul, I put the that article in Master or Arwen, whoever.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, Christ.
Yeah, there's two things I want to point out in this article.
Great. First thing it's asking me, would you like to allow this website to give you notifications? No, thanks.
I got it up chocolate.
Oh.
Oops. I thought I did. Yeah, that's up.
Right. So obviously the name of the article is How Fast is Earth Moving, right? So the first paragraph, and shout out to Gospel Bearer who was on 24/7 and he shared this with me or on the server. So the first paragraph is, as an earthling, it's easy to believe that we're standing still. After all, we don't feel any movement in our surroundings. Yet when you look at the sky, you can see evidence that we are moving. Right? Very next sentence. What exactly is the speed of the Earth around the sun? So to me, that's just funny because the sentence before that is, we look at the sky, we see evidence that we are moving. Let's skip all the let's prove that it's moving. Let's measure it. Let's calculate. Yes, yes, all of that. Let's skip all that. Next sentence. What is the speed of the Earth around the sun? So
Yeah.
if that's not a presupposition, I don't know what is. Where did we miss? Did we skip a step here? Right. So that was the first thing that I wanted to point out. Right. There you go. This article is full of just bits of nonsense. Right. So you go down a little bit later to what would happen if
You're
the
breaking
Earth
up, chocolate.
You're breaking up a bit.
stops spinning.
You're breaking up a bit, chocolate.
Oh,
Arwen, can you
sorry.
scroll
Hold on.
down too?
And it's very noisy on the work floor there.
Arwen, scroll down the article a bit.
Me? I'm not
Yeah,
presenting.
we can only see the globe. We don't see the writing.
That's not me.
Oh, it's Paul sharing? Okay, sorry. Sorry, Arwen.
I can present it too.
Thanks,
Can you
Arwen.
guys hear?
Sorry.
Can you hear me
Where do
better?
you want me?
Yeah, we
Is that
can
as far as
hear
you want me to go?
you. Sure.
To where it says, "What would happen if the Earth stopped spinning?" I'm sorry if it's loud over here, guys. I'm at work.
It's all good. We heard what you say.
Oh, right here. I got it. What would happen if the Earth stopped spinning? There is no chance that you'll be flung off to space right now because the Earth's gravity is so strong compared to its spinning motion. This latter motion is called centripetal acceleration. At its
I'm more
strongest
about
point,
on
which is
the second paragraph.
okay, NASA says the probability for Earth stopping its spin is practically zero for the next few billion years. Theoretically, however, if the Earth did stop moving suddenly, then there would be an awful effect. The atmosphere would still be moving at the original speed of the Earth's rotation. This means that everything would be swept off land, including people, buildings, and even trees, topsoil, and rocks. Right? It's the
Right.
sudden break of the Earth spin. Everybody stopped,
Really?
right?
Wait, I thought they were moving together. Why would one stop and the other not?
No, it's because of the deceleration of momentum.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because it still wants to go, but if it would be stopped, well, how would it even do that? They're not actually. It's like if it was suddenly stopped for no good reason at all, then yeah, the momentum would cause things to crash. Yeah,
But if the Earth stopped rotating and the atmosphere kept going, so when the Earth started rotating, why would the atmosphere start rotating with it?
no, because it's what?
I,
No,
I'd
but
rather I'd
according to
rather a
the
baller
official,
answer that. I'd
according to
rather a
the
baller
official
answer that.
narrative, but the official narrative says that the atmosphere is moving in lockstep. So the
Well, that would be a
momentum of the
problem then.
atmosphere, right? But that's what they say is like if there was a sudden stop, then everything would keep its momentum, causing the wind to suddenly burst off towards what will it be? Towards the east or the west, whatever. Yeah, towards the east, and so would the Earth get a sudden break effect? So things would crash, tumble over. All that's what they're basically pointing at. It's
So in other words, the proof that the Earth would be spinning would be when it stopped.
right. Well, at least they're presuming to manipulate their independent variables. They're not actually going to do it though. To confirm it.
Well, they confirmed it in the first paragraph when they said we look at the sky, we see evidence.
Oh,
So how fast is it moving?
I don't
They
think
already
that
did the
falls.
hard work for you at the first paragraph.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think that falls under experimental evidence. That's just presumption. But in this case, stopping the actual spin of the Earth might be considered as manipulating the independent variable. It's not gonna happen though.
What's up?
Hey Tony.
Hey, Sleeping Warrior. Hey, Toby.
What's up?
What I miss?
What's up?
You,
What I
you
miss?
missed how
Kiwi.
everything would fly off the Earth if it stopped spinning.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not spinning.
Yeah, it's kind of fear porn and a level of indoctrination, though, isn't it? If you're putting out into your audience's consciousness the idea that if we weren't spinning, disaster would follow. When someone comes along and says, you realise Earth's not spinning, your brain is suddenly wired to picture disaster. So it's quite a careful piece of programming, in my opinion.
Yeah. That just make you resort to using your imagination. They're making you play with their conceptualized model to let you make the mistake of assuming that that is actually valid proof. The
Right.
conceptualization itself.
Yeah. Take our conceptualization of a spinning ball Earth. Now conceptualize that conceptualization stopping. Disaster would follow. Hey, Anon.
Yeah, exactly. That's the trick.
Hello, boys.
Hello. Was someone just speaking with a mouthful of sandwich?
No, that's John. That's how he always talks.
I mean, Arwen, I'm sure you could find plenty of goodies in this article. From second law of thermodynamics violation.com. Oh, I mean space.com.
Well, I did like this one typical thing because I remember as a kid that I was basically bound to do that. I heard this story before. It falls into kind of like Superman physics category, you know. In that movie they make Superman stop the spin of the Earth or reverse it, and then time turns back. Now everybody that believes in the ball science and all that will say, yeah, that time part is of course silly, you know, that's just pure science fiction. But the rest, of course, is kind of, this is how it would work. That is what. Then they use it as an excuse to start helping the person that had seen that to fantasize more about what it would do. And this story about what would happen if the Earth stopped spinning is the same.
How would that even work? So when Superman was going around the Earth, the counter way of the spin, was he making the atmosphere spin and therefore making the Earth spin? Did he affect the atmosphere and that affected the ground?
Yeah, good point. You know, during that visual that they presented you, the zoomed out version of the rotating Earth, what they could have also done is kind of given you the close up view, and that would look more like the Matrix in the second movie, where he would fly like beyond speed of sound through the buildings with all the trash going. That would probably be
they did that
close
though.
to
They
reality.
did that. They gave you a close up. They gave you a close up of Superman as he's going around, you know, flying, you know, incredibly fast. They gave you a slight close up.
You know who else uses?
He would leave a big scar over the Earth.
You know who else uses that exact scene from Superman? Interview with the Vampire. So they use it in an even more clever way. So what happens to the vampire, the main character, the Brad Pitt character, is he dies and can no longer see sunrises. Obviously, he's now a vampire. But in a narrative part of the movie, he describes how going to the cinema allows him to see the world, and specifically how he gets to see the sunrise. And then it literally plays Superman in that movie. So it has a cutaway to Superman at a movie theatre playing, with Superman coming away from a ball Earth, flying around it, and then the sun coming up as Superman flies back down again. So he's literally telling the audience that he's getting to see the reality of the world through the cinema screen. And he's telling the audience quite overtly. It's a really clever piece of programming when you think about it, on knowing the levels that we know in this regard. How Interview with the Vampire literally lifts that very scene from Superman to say, this is how you can see what your world does. Like, quite overtly programming you.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
Totally missed that one.
I'm sorry, say that again. I was distracted.
Saying in Interview with the Vampire, he describes going to the cinema to get to see the sunrise again. But he's basically telling the audience that he's getting to see what he describes as a reality he can no longer experience through the cinema screen. Whereas in reality, we know that the cinema screen is telling you about their reification of a sphere Earth in a vacuum by way of cinematography, so that you suspend disbelief about turning that presupposed sphere backwards to reverse time. Well, that bit is where you think the end of the suspension of disbelief is punctuated. Oh, it's ridiculous to believe. Obviously, I'm suspending disbelief when I think you can turn the world backwards, and that's the end of most people's cognition. But the fact that you're punctuating that by saying the world won't turn backwards, so the world does turn forwards, that's the point of the programming. But in Interview with the Vampire, it's another level, because he's saying, I can never see this claim to be proof of a ball Earth spinning, the sunrise, because he's a vampire. But he can go to the cinema and see just how the world works again through his eyes with a cinema screen in front of him. Well, no, that's just how they program us.
Yeah, it's very smart. Very sneaky.
Very sneaky.
It's funny that it's the same actor, Brad Pitt, that's in that new space movie, Ad Astra, which is
okay.
it's chock full of just the programming is so hard in that movie, and not for nothing, it's good for a science fiction, bullshit movie. It's all right. it's entertaining for what it is, but it's just nonsense.
I haven't seen it yet. Is it in movie theaters or on Netflix? Where can I find that?
I think it's still in the theaters. I have an app where I just see stuff that's out or whatever. But
You seen it in a theater?
no, I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on an app. But
Oh, you got a ripped version.
yeah, I ain't paying for that shit.
You got your sources?
Yeah,
Right.
man.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by, first and foremost, Paul Hall, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay.
You always do that when I step. You always do that when I step away. You always.
We are also joined by Sleeping Warrior, Righteous Force, Chocolate Saiyan, Arwin, and Anon Moto. Very good to have you all in G+.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good evening.
Hello, hello, hello.
It's got a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey Nathan, you got your long conversation after all. How about that? After that silent start.
Yeah, I got coffee, got myself a pop. Excellent stuff. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Nope.
Sorry.
Axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Nope.
No
Only
actual
Superman.
rotation. No.
Scientific evidence?
Axial rotation. We need an axis.
Well, there's no axial rotation because indeed no axis, and there's no actual rotation either of anything physical. No, just those lights going around us in that pattern.
About scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope.
Oh, what?
What is it?
What's gravity?
Bending
What
of
is
a
it? Is it a force? Is it not a force?
It's the bending of a
It's a
conceptual
phenomenon
medium
that some people think
known
is
as
force.
space-time. Sorry.
I actually agree with Einstein on this one. When Einstein describes it as an observed phenomena that we perceive, but isn't actually a thing, we just see a little bit of movement, and it kind of lines up with an explanation, but it isn't a force. And Einstein said so, and he is your science, so you will follow him. So get used to it. It's not a force.
So you can think of it as a force, but
No, not really.
But what if we just don't think of it as a force? It doesn't specifically exclude.
What phenomenon though? If I drop something, I just drop something. What's the phenomena that I'm seeing?
It's just your keys are more heavy than the air around it. Some things don't fall down, do they? Some things go up like helium balloons.
Right.
Right.
Cigarette
I think
smoke.
it falls under displacement.
And we can manipulate it as well. We can control which way the helium balloon goes. If we do it in air, it'll go up. But if we do it in something that's more dense than air, like sulfur hexafluoride, it'll go up faster. But if you do it in something that's less dense than air, like hydrogen, the helium balloon will go down. We can control it. So it's not being controlled by an external, magical, spooky force, is it?
Oh, I mean, by that, it seems like it has to do with the densities relative to each other.
Oh, do you know what? That's exactly what it is.
What is density?
And we know it's that because scientific method tells us that the thing that we manipulate is the presumed cause. So if we presume that the cause is the manipulation of the medium and then we manipulate it and it gives us the effect, then guess what? Science is on our side and it says that's what the cause is because we've manipulated it. But guess what also it says? You can't infer additional causes unless you can prove them by manipulating them too. So if you're going to infer that there's a little bit of gravity causing a buoyant effect, then guess what you've got to manipulate to prove that your hypothesis is true? Because if you can't manipulate something to prove your hypothesis is true, then either there is no independent variable there for you to manipulate, or you've got to accept your null, and that means there's no gravity.
You have something to add, Babs?
Yeah. Why does density favor the downward direction?
It doesn't. It's relative.
Relative density.
If you're helium, it doesn't.
If you're hydrogen, it doesn't.
Observe that
If you're a
downward.
ping pong ball at the bottom of a pool, it doesn't.
Just one sec. Go ahead, Babs.
Wait, before
We
we
do
go.
Hold on, Arwin.
No. This is a plain truth.
Yeah, but he's trying to get a word in. It's his point.
Discord server is.
Hi, Rumpus.
He wants to join.
Go ahead, Babs.
We do observe that most things do fall in a downward direction. So why is the downward direction favored?
Because most things are more dense than the medium in which we observe these things falling in. Air. Most things are more dense than air. Not everything, but most things. And that helium balloon proves that that's the case.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Water. Got a puddle in front of me. It vanishes. Disappears up into the sky. About cigarette smoke. It's not falling down.
If you think back to when you were younger, where I grew up, it was quite rough and cars would get stolen every other weekend. They'd be burnt out nearby on a field somewhere, like with a farmer's track that's the only access to it. And I used to be able to watch the thick black plumes of smoke from the tires as they were on fire, and they would rise up until a certain point, and then they'd level off, and then they would be laterally displacing in the medium that they're in, no longer going up or down, going horizontal. And that, when you think about it, is exactly what we observe with everything, but you just don't realize that the medium is relevant.
Fair enough.
Just like to point out,
Go ahead.
Archimedes, didn't Archimedes like figure all this whole density, relative density, and buoyancy thing like 100 years before Jesus?
No,
He had
Archimedes
no problems. He didn't need the force. He didn't. He wasn't like, man, I'm confused about this. There isn't a force. This whole force business came in like 1,700 years later.
Isn't he using displacement?
Yeah, Archimedes worked out displacement. He said that the volume of displacement was equal to the volume of the thing that was being displaced. So it was like you put something in water, and then that volume would be displaced, and it was equal to the size of the thing that was in it. But I mean, to be honest, the minute you start talking about that, it takes away from the point that we can demonstrate within scientific method, which is that the medium manipulation can control which way your which direction and magnitude your object will then move. No force required.
Yeah, because I've been wondering what kind of force that you added to that salt, that you added to that water, that made the egg go in the opposite direction of theory that these people are trying to convince us of.
Well, guys, I don't know. I really think that there are forces at play in the materials, but it's very simple. The ballers just falsely attribute that to gravity. I just see it within the relative density, and it expresses itself in many ways, and maybe even more ways than I have been able to figure out precisely. But
yeah, and that's, do you know what's got a name? That
there are forces going on. There is displacement, there is this pressure, and it all ties in to how
there's a name.
Material.
There's a name. There's a name for the thing that you're describing. It's called the pressure gradient force. It works in fluids and in gases, and it explains everything. It explains why the egg moved when I put a little bit of salt in it. It explains why the anvil sits on top of the liquid mercury. It explains why helium bloom will go up in the atmosphere. And it'll also explain why helium bloom would go down when it's in hydrogen. It's because of the pressure gradient force, and it's caused by disequilibrium between the different things, whatever the relative things are, changes in pressure.
I totally agree, but I just wanted to, because it's tough every time that we discuss the Baller's claim about gravity and then force, not force. It can be a bit confusing when we say, now, there is no force, because, well, there are kind of forces going on. It's just not attributable to this fictional gravity. That's the difference.
But you do, Owen, and you do it beautifully. I would say your description is far more eloquent than this force that they've just attributed by word only. When you say relative density disequilibrium, you're essentially starting from the point of disequilibrium in your explanation for gravity, which is where they start. So they start with the mic in the man's hand before he drops it. In other words, the mic is already in disequilibrium. So when you're describing the explanation of gravity, which is an assumption that something's going to start moving down at a given rate, i.e. it's already in disequilibrium, it's not static, it's not at its point of rest, well, that's more accurately described as a comparison to gravity as relative density disequilibrium.
Yes, exactly.
And you know what's really beautiful about that phrase? That phrase was kind of like created because of me and Arwin arguing. I don't know if you guys remember, but me and Arwin argued over gravity at one point, because whatever we were arguing at the time, I can't even remember what we were arguing. Overall, we were actually arguing about the same thing, but we just didn't know what we were talking about because this name didn't really exist.
Well,
and now we realize, it's like, hallelujah, we're on the same page.
Well, I can give a little bit more fill-in for it. Back then, we didn't really have an alternative conceptualization yet, not an elaborate one, to replace gravity and explain all the displacements on that. We were just so hell-bent on getting rid of gravity that our replacement for it was just almost not there. And I was really frustrated with that. I just thought, no, why discard this? There's all these things here. And then it started to gradually sink in, like, wait, it really isn't founded on anything. It's just gathered together different types of elements and effects that can be proven through other things. And that's when also John really started to get more involved, and then the relative density theory in its basic form was reintroduced. It came to our consciousness as an alternate explanation. And that's when I thought, okay, finally there's a proper fill-in to replace it, and you can actually manipulate the independent variable.
This is not a scientific theory. Yes, there are elements that have been proven through science, but this is not a scientific theory. If anything, it's more accurately described as a secondary effect of entropy.
Hold on. Since when is that?
Since I listened in on a conversation between two PhDs.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. Any viable hypotheses from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysicists? Anybody? Anybody at all?
No. A single
let me know,
viable
let me know when one of them.
scientific. Oh God.
Is there a single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics in their entire histories?
Now, single viable scientific hypothesis. So single hypothesis, not hypotheses from any one of the disciplines.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Let me know when any of them can do anything more than observe.
No, they can't. They're all pseudoscientists.
At this point, let's give a shout out to that Dr. Becky that 10th Man's been pressuring. I've also jumped on the bandwagon, and we should all jump on the bandwagon. Just ask her to demonstrate any scientific test or experiment that she's participated in her field where she complied with scientific method, because none of those can.
Let's do this now. You got a link. Chuck it in Master B. I'm going to encourage the audience to go and do this right away.
Just type in Dr. Becky on YouTube, you'll find her.
I'm running a show. Please share the link with me.
Okay, give me a second. I'll find it for you. Just for you.
Any evidence that we can have gas pressure without a container?
81,000 subs, and she's making regular videos at the minute. Do you want the link? Where do you want it? Master B?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Your wish has been granted, sire.
So this is the video. This is Dr. Becky. I'm just going to pop it up for the audience for a second. On pause. And the video itself is which one?
The last 3 or 4. She's been making them regularly in the last week or 2.
So why can't anything go faster than the speed of light? No. Why do we measure? No. Where's the AMA?
I think it's the day in the life of an astrophysicist. That's the one that 10th Man started his thing.
Okay, perfect. So if I share the AMA in the live stream chat, so if you're in the live stream chat now, make sure you come back. But if you would, go and ask this. She's an astrophysicist, right?
Yeah.
Ask the astrophysicist for any scientific evidence that she has.
I asked her if she could demonstrate any experiment where she was compliant with scientific method.
Perfect.
I got crickets.
It didn't look like she was doing any experimentation. She was just reading emails and drinking coffee and looking at some.
No, she was coming up with hypotheses while she was sitting there listening to her iTunes and talking about black holes and stuff. She was sciencing the shit out of them, apparently, at her computer.
When they had to go eat lunch with the guy, praise him for getting his PhD.
I think she just got a PhD recently, and she's a little bit giddy because it seems to be in all her pictures.
Because she's got it sitting there on her desk. Very prevalent on her desk. Like, please look at my PhD that I've got here, guys.
So this is the third, I believe, unless someone can correct me. So we've had George Musa, then Daniel or Danny Faulkner, and now this, what's her name, Dr. Becky, who have stepped into this arena with their PhDs, and now we're in a position to challenge them in regards to their just so stories under the banner of science, which it is not.
They don't talk to communists.
Has she stepped into this arena though?
I know.
Or did we step into her arena? Because I don't think, has she addressed flat Earth at all? I don't think she has she?
Hold on, Travis. Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Travis.
Yeah.
I'll pop him on mute.
Take that. You want me? Okay. You want me to do 41?
Why can't I server mute? There we go.
Right. Take that.
My God.
Still hear him.
It's because someone else is trying to server mute him at the same time as me.
No, it's there's a delay. It's on my end too. You gotta press it and wait. So you were pressing it more than once, that's why.
Yeah, I was. Impatient. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
What's the sun?
No idea. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
You don't even know if it's tangible.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
No.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
Did we have gas pressure without a container already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we've done it.
no
That's
evidence
it.
of that.
That's it. We've covered them. That's it. Housekeeping done. Thank you very much.
I would like to reiterate my shout out to the first few gas molecules that started off this atmosphere. That said, we're not gonna act like gas and expand into the available volume. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna rock. We're gonna start up this gradient and all that. Yeah. So shout out to those first pioneer gas molecules.
Yeah. They just said, let's all stick together.
Lewis and Clark.
Riley, I was thinking about that earlier when you asked we were talking about a few weeks ago. Like, how did the atmosphere freaking start?
Yeah, where did the atmosphere come from? Where did the oceans?
Exactly. I was having a long, nice conversation earlier this morning with all of the globe people over in the overnight chat. They couldn't answer any of these questions.
Of course they can't. Everything revolves around gravity, space, and pixie dust. Right, Nathan, put my screen on if you would. I think we've finished housekeeping, haven't we? Right?
Yeah, you're up.
All right, so Ken Wheeler has put out a video recently, and I'll just scrub through it to show you the gist of it because I'm conscious of playing it. And basically, he's got a thermal imaging camera, and basically the blues are cold, the oranges and reds and yellows are warm, and they're all relative to each other. So if you were to bring something in the picture now that was relatively hot, everything else would change around it. It's excellent. And what he's demonstrating is this is a scene on it outside his house. He's just parked his car up at the beginning. He shows his car on the drive, hopefully, and then he shows a car drive by. So there's his car. He's got the warmth from the exhaust and the wheels and whatnot. A car drives by in the background. But what he's demonstrating here at this point here is that he's got a tree, and the tree is not as cold because it's on the reverse side of the moonlight. And what he's showing that the shadow, which you can't see as black on this, you see as yellow and red and oranges. This is the shadow being cast by the fat part of the tree, the branches of the tree above. But because the moon's right above him, it's not showing it as good as what you'd expect it to be because it's not like a trunk, it's like a bush kind of thing. But what he's demonstrating is that the shadow being cast by the bushy part of the tree is like 2 degrees warmer than the grass that it's around. Now, ballers say, oh, it's just radiated heat, you moron. Now, what Ken doesn't do is he doesn't cast his own shadow and then watch the temperature get warmer and then cast it and then remove the cast shadow to see what happens. So the ballers are able to argue and get away with this radiated heat nonsense. But the point is that this is demonstrating, this reddy orangey color here is demonstrating that this relative area is warmer than the area exposed to direct moonlight, and it's caused by the casting of the shade of the tree. So basically, the argument is that if moonlight is colder, then this is supporting the assertion. but because Ken didn't cause the shadow himself, the ballers are able to get away with radiated heat. If there's anybody out there that's got one of these FLIR cameras, we need to
buy one though.
They're dead expensive. They're dead expensive.
$400. You can get the ones that are attachments to your iPhone or Android, and I think it's better because you can you can do like a recording of your phone screen, you know, with different apps. So it's better to get a
yeah, that's true. But I think what Anthony's saying is, I can't remember. I didn't look at it, but I know Ken Wheeler well enough to know that this will be a sophisticated piece of equipment. It will not be cheap.
Yeah, so basically,
$400.
This casting of a shadow is warmer than the relative area around it. Now, Sean Hufford has got one of these plug-in things to his phone, and it'll do this kind of thing, right? Now, Sean's currently on a task to demonstrate whether or not Moonlight is colder. Now, to be honest, Ken Wheeler's already demonstrated that Moonlight is colder than the shade, but they're all going to argue that it's radiated heat. Now, Sean could do this exact test himself, and he has agreed to do a very similar test to this, but instead of relying on a tree casting a shadow for you, he's agreed that he will cause the shadow himself, watch what happens, and then remove the shadow, and then watch what happens. Now, I can guarantee he'll do something other than what he's agreed to do, right? Because it's Sean. But if anybody's got one of these cameras, these little plug-in things, all you need to do is cast a shadow and then measure and watch what happens with the temperature as it changes around where the area that's got the shadow on it now is, and then remove the shadow. And if the temperature drops, if the temperature rises because of the shadow, well, if the temperature rises because of the shadow and then drops when you remove the shadow, then it's not being radiated heat. It's not radiated heat the way they're telling us, because radiated heat, unless there's something putting the heat back in there, it ain't going to make it do that. It'd be a one-way street. But yes, anyone that's got one of these cameras, give me a shout and let me know. Let's see if we can replicate this.
I know somebody.
Hold on, just 1 second, Darwin. I'm stupid. I don't understand. What? So what? Okay, so Moonlight's cold. Wowee. What does this prove? Who cares?
Not reflected sunlight.
Finally.
Yeah. So shout out to Ken Wheeler. Oh, actually, in this video,
hold on. The conclusion gets about 5 seconds of airtime. Right. So why would you say that then? Well, it's just reflecting it and getting cold. There you go. I'll put up a slight challenge. Still reflecting off.
Shout out retracted.
Shout out refracted.
No, retracted.
Don't eat.
What was Ken Wheeler's conclusion?
I knew he was eating. That's why we haven't heard him yet.
Hold on, Chocolate. I'm trying desperately to get onto this, and someone's just. Thank you, QE. Can you repeat that? Hopefully, without a mouthful of sandwich.
Sorry, man. I'm eating breakfast.
That's okay. You're just still interrupted at the right time, which is I'd rather that with a mouthful of sandwich than not. So, what did you say about conclusion being drawn by the videographer?
Yeah, what was his conclusion? Did he have a conclusion?
He said that it was pretty obvious that the moon was reflecting sunlight.
Yeah, that's what he said.
He said it was reflecting sunlight?
And now we've got two people doing it at once. Oh, Anthony, come on. I know this is your point, but I tried to lead you on it, and now you're over-talking QE making the point. Let's try that again. So the videographer...
I'll tell you what, Nathan, hold on. Go ahead and say my name that you're addressing me, so these idiot crayon munchers on the panel will shut their pie holes.
So what was his conclusion? Let's start there, Quantum Eraser.
That was my question. I said, what was Ken Wheeler's conclusion? That's my question.
His conclusion was that the moon is reflecting sunlight, as we all perfectly well know.
How to be fair, in the world how can he reach that conclusion? What is I know what his conclusion is. I think I got it. He's saying the moonlight is cooler, therefore the double slit experiment is false. I knew it. I knew he was gonna do that. Okay, Wheeler, you freaking clown.
His conclusion was that the moonlight is cooler, and when he referenced that it's the sun's reflected light, he was kind of being facetious. I think he was, because he was laughing, going right, right, and then you could tell at the end he was basically saying he is kind of dumbfounded by it. There was no hypothesis; it was just an observation that look, it looks like it's cooler.
You know what?
That is what he did.
he could do this experiment, sorry, not experiment, if he could do this test with that equipment again, but do it in a closed off room with glass or anything that will let
you're missing
through
the point.
moonlight, and do the same thing again to actually prove that the
No,
moonlight
I
would
don't need
insert
that.
cold instead of letting entropy go faster, making things cool off faster, and therefore creating the apparent coldness. I would much appreciate it.
Right, who cares?
I
The
think
test
another-
is it. The test.
Is
The test.
Ken really a
Oh my
baller?
god. The test
Yeah, he's
is.
a baller.
The test's irrelevant. We don't need this test to make the conclusion, which has got very, very little airtime thus far. So
Exactly.
who cares a shit about multiple replications of this observation? It is meaningless. What we know from multiple different directions, not just temperature, is that we cannot have a reflection of the sun's light off the moon. That is an impossibility. The reason in this instance is because you can't have it radiating coldness from a hot sun. That's a contradiction in terms. Now, while I appreciate Anon defending his guru in this regard, saying he's sarcastically saying, well, it's reflecting the sun, right? Well, no, that's him appealing to his audience to confirm his cognitive dissonance. Sarcastic or otherwise, that's what he said.
He is definitely a baller. At least he's in the closet if he is anything.
Yeah, we know he's a baller. That's why we're holding him to task on that point.
That's why I had to ask, is he a baller? Because if his conclusion...
He actually made a video making fun of flat earthers. So he is definitely a baller.
Well, he doesn't. Well, he's a wizard. And he likes to screw around. Just look at his freaking tattoos and all that shit.
Let's not ad hom the guy. God, Darwin, we don't need to ad hom the guy.
I'm not ad homing.
Look at his tattoos. Why? What are we going to find on his tattoos? We're going to find evidence of gravity on his tattoos? Who cares?
Maybe he has a G on there. I don't know.
Oh God, why? Second time we've done this, Arwin. Right, I want to focus on the fact we cannot have light reflected off the moon from the sun. Now, specular reflections are another way of debunking this. It's not just temperature that we need to make this conclusion.
Yeah, how can you have light reflecting off something that isn't even an object in the first place? So
I don't know about that.
It's completely
but
clearly
we don't know if it's enough.
But clearly, you can't have uniform reflection of light off convex objects. I've been saying this for 3.5 years. Hey, Ken Wheeler, thanks, man. It's about time you caught up, clown.
Yeah.
But
I have a feeling, he's at the border of the
to the moon.
Right.
They're all talking over each other.
Yeah.
Go on and on.
Anybody give me?
So I have a question.
Take a minute.
Chocolate, hold on. Chocolate. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I say go on and on. Small pause. Arwin and Chocolate both talk. Anon,
So
go ahead.
You know those screens on old monitors or old TVs where you can create these this like magnifying effect and burn things. I forget what they're called. They basically magnify the sun. You can melt steel with it like really quick. If
Who
you
cares?
can magnify the moonlight, I wonder if you can get more cooling effect and you can see like a big hot spot on the ground, and that way you can manipulate. That way you can actually manipulate your cause.
Yeah. You're doing what
Try a
Arwin's
sun
done.
cooker.
You're doing what Arwin's done. No, we don't need to replicate this observation again. We need to point out that in the heliocentric bullshit world of sphere Earth and us travelling around a sun that, according to them, is giving off light that's then being reflected off the moon, this and other things, including specular reflections, debunk the notion that the moon is reflecting sunlight, an absolute necessity in the heliocentric model. The moon's just a rock, the remnants of Theia that's coalesced because of gravity, and then is apparently a dead piece of rock reflecting light from the sun. Well, no, it is not. It can't possibly be.
Absolutely. But I still like to know what it is because I'm curious at things, you know? Want to know what it really is. Is it cold? How can light carry cold? I don't understand how that could work in the first place. But maybe it's just another effect that is being subjected that the moonlight
sounds
does.
like chocolate to me.
Go ahead, Chocolate.
What happened?
I just said go ahead.
I kind of gave up because Arwen just is not stopping today. So
Yeah. Nathan said, "Go ahead, Chocolate," and then Arwen talks. Arwen, do you know what's your name?
Yeah, I'll leave because I've
No,
already
don't-
been verbally attacked several times on any kind of corner.
What's your
Not yet-
name?
Oh,
but
come
Arwen,
on.
you understand?
Oh,
You
later,
don't
have
have
fun,
to
have
speak
fun.
on
You
every
just
single
do your
point.
thing.
Look at you.
Shut
Still
up.
doing it.
Everyone be
Yeah.
quiet.
Still doing it.
Arwen is ace. Oh, he's gone away. You've scared Arwen away. So anyway, I know Ken Wheeler will be aware of. Now I don't know this term other than hearing it from Quantum Eraser. 60 level optics.
Exactly. This was over many years ago. So I don't know what is the great attraction to finding out. I don't get it.
I just want this to appeal to someone like Ken Wheeler in this regard. He's a heavy influence over a lot of people in this community. Now, they're aware he's a baller.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem in this community and has been the biggest problem since the beginning. Friggin' flat earthers following a tattooed Jabba the Hutt Uncle Fester baller. I mean, what on earth, people?
Can I just make my point? The point I wanted to make was in this video, he says, so there you go. I think operative sunlight. I'm not sure that was the word he said, but he said, of course, moonlight is reflected sunlight, in case you didn't know. So obviously, right. You see, listen to how he says that in the video. Like 1.5 minutes in, the guy's smiling. I don't know whether he's being intentionally dishonest or whether he's just trolling, but he's smiling when he says this, and it's like he knows something's not right, and I don't know whether he knows all of it or whether he's just intentionally trolling us. But you make your own mind up. Go and listen to how he says it. It's very stark that he's misleading people by smiling.
Wait.
Get him on the show.
Hold on. He's a baller, right? He does this observation where he's noticing moonlight colder than the shade, and yet his conclusion is the sun is actually reflecting off the moon. Yeah, wink. That's what he said.
He didn't say
Now,
wink, wink.
Anthony's saying that he was being sarcastic.
Or dishonest. You'll have to interpret it yourself based on how you saw what he said. But basically, the way he worded it, he was smiling, and it's like you just need to hear it to understand what I'm saying. The guy knows that this is not consistent with his model.
Interesting. I've never followed him. I've seen, I think, one video of his, and I didn't know till today he's a baller. So,
Man knows a lot about cameras.
That's okay.
He's definitely a
Just get him
baller,
on the
but, you
show.
know, you take your
Just get him on the
information you want
show.
from everybody.
Just get him on the show. You
No,
have plenty of
that's fine.
people in this
That's
flat
fine.
earth community. Oh my God.
sorry, John. Go ahead.
No, I'm fucking done.
He rubs you the wrong way. I can understand why.
Anyway, so my point is,
Who rubs me? Wait a second.
oh God,
Who rubs
Oh,
me
no.
the wrong way?
So Ken Wheeler will
The
understand.
time to go get your video games?
Oh God, here we go. It's the
I don't
calm.
play video games.
Calm is over. He will understand what specular reflections are. Now, if you're saying he already knows, and that's why his cheeks are turning up when he's saying, yeah, sure, it's reflecting the sun, isn't it? Well, yeah, that's your interpretation. But those aren't the words he's saying. Now, the fact that that's a circle that needs squaring, and perhaps that's your interpretation of him smiling while he's saying it, clearly this isn't the case. But that's not what he's saying, is it? He's saying, he's reaffirming, in his conclusion, the complete opposite of what he's observing. Well, why would you do that?
That's why I left it open to the audience to discern whether they think he's being dishonest or not. He's clearly up to mischief because you can tell in his voice that he's not being sincere.
You know, some people don't want to come out the flat earth closet, and I can understand that, especially if you have deals with camera companies and stuff like that. I'm not making excuses for them. because he definitely did talk shit about flat earthers before. But I have a feeling that after whenever he took this video, he's gonna, he's not gonna sleep well because he's gonna try to figure this shit out, and maybe he'll look into it with a little bit more openness.
He knows. Go and listen to how he words it at 1 minute 30.
I agree. I feel like he's being facetious. He's being very, very tongue in cheek, going like he's very uncomfortable, and he's like, right, guys, right? Like he's about to leave the cult, and he's like, kind of like what Owen Benjamin did at the beginning. He's like, I don't want to be a flat Earth person, kind of that kind of thing. But it takes courage to come out, especially with me and some of the people here. We're just a name. But if you're like have your face, you have company, people know where you live, and you have a lot of followers, you don't want to just come out. I can totally understand that, but I feel like he's getting closer.
Especially if you're a civil engineer called Brian Mullen, I can understand why you would not want to be involved with this arena.
Anybody in the academic.
I would rather to have him just stay a baller. Thanks.
Okay.
You could get him on the show. He's got plenty. So get some of these flat earthers to go.
There you go
on the show. Get him on the show, and then he can all show us. He can all demonstrate.
Right?
You not hear that?
Let's see.
What's
Guys, shut up when people are talking.
I can't believe it.
Hold on.
I really can't.
Anthony, what's the timestamp when he says that?
Just go from 120 and just let it play.
23 degrees. I'll make sure I'm in the shadow. Yeah, there we go. 19 degrees. 18, 17. Also in the moonlight. So, there you go. Opposite of sunlight. Of course, moonlight is reflected sunlight, in case you didn't know. Obviously so, right? Right? Let's see. Obviously so, right? Right?
What the fuck's he doing?
Right.
For his audience.
Right? I mean, I feel like he's getting closer.
Why'd you care?
Because he has a lot of followers. More flat earth people.
Yeah, especially you.
Well, I'm already a flat earth person, so. And I've tried to contact him, and because I've had other questions with him, because I disagree with a bunch of other things, just like you, Q. You see, I don't just take a person and eat everything they say. I take a lot of things from you. I've learned a lot from you, but at the same time, I disagree with you on a lot of things. Same with Ken. I agree with a lot of things he says, but I disagree with a lot of things he says. And I try to contact him.
It's not a case of an agree or disagree. It's not a case of an agree or disagree. We're not talking about our favorite ice creams here. That's your problem.
It is about what you make decisions on. Like, as a human being, you get information and you get to make decisions. I'm just talking about from my perspective. There are things that I agree with him, and there are things that I don't agree with him. And I've tried to contact him about some of the stuff that he says that I have problems with, and he just doesn't reply to me because there's thousands of comments. So trying to get him on the show is like, I can't even talk to him.
So you said before he's made videos, talking about flat Earth or flat earthers?
Yeah, he did. He not just like a lot, but there was one time, because I thought he was going to be a flat earther, but I eventually found out he's not. And there was a video, somebody had clipped it, so he doesn't really talk about it. But there was a clip that I saw from his video from somebody else that basically he was saying, "Oh yeah, flat earth is stupid," etc. I don't remember. It was a while ago. But the point is, I take what I take what I will from anybody that I listen to and talk to and interact with, and I leave the rest. So, just like you,
okay,
I learn a lot from you, TV, but I disagree at the same time with a lot of things.
Have you seen? And I say again, most of the things that we're talking about, because you're being ambiguous, most of the things that you're talking about are not agree, disagree criteria. For the second time, do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah, give a justification as well, please. Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead, chocolate.
That wasn't chocolate.
Nathan, you were trying to say something?
Well, I was trying to say, can you justify why it's not an agree-disagree situation?
Oh, I didn't know you were talking to me. Yeah, because most of or a lot of things that we talk about are empirical. That is, they're either black or white, a 1 or a 0, a yes or no, right? There's no agree, disagree. That's subjective. We're into objective. So you're outside the category. Thanks.
Yeah. Just hey, the one. Good to have you.
Hello, guys.
Hello. So on a slight side note, talking of empirical data, a name from the past, Gary Awesome, has been making videos for the last, I don't know, couple of months about climate change. And I've been hinting at him, ask these people for scientific evidence. Ask them for their empirical data. And today on his most recent video, I actually got a reply out of him. He was like, I'm more interested in the socio-political aspects of climate change. And I'm like, well, why? These people are claiming science. Just ask them for their scientific evidence. And riddled throughout his video, he's got news clips of people saying, science says that blah, 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 blah. You're like, all right, well, if science says that, just ask them for their scientific evidence. And that draws a quick and swift conclusion to the pretender clowns who haven't got any.
Is that the same Gary Orson that made a video about you or us or whatever and then disappeared shortly after that?
Yeah, he made a song about me as well. No, but when it comes to things like this, you know, the guy's making inquiries into a subject matter that he could just pummel his opponents with in a one swoop just by asking them for their scientific evidence. Now, he's appreciated that there's lots of people telling politicians what to do based on science. And they're telling their audience that, look, I don't know what climate change is, but scientists tell me that. And then they go on to parrot what a scientist has told them and the statistics that have backed up this claim. And you go, all right, well, then you're just being swindled with mathematics. Ask the scientist for his scientific evidence. And you'll quickly find they don't have any. And what is scientific evidence? Well, it's empirical data. Once you've got a hypothesis that's been validated by experimentation, you can assert a cause with empiricism. Well, what are they asserting? Cause! And what are they? Scientists! So ask them for their scientifically validated cause and effect relationship. Their scientific evidence. Believe me, it chops their head off like that. So yeah,
did you just say believe me?
Yeah, it's not an agree-disagree situation. No belief required. I might have phrased it as in, believe me, it's not an agree-disagree situation. It's an empirical situation where we talk about science. That's the whole point of it. It's empirical.
Yeah, it's just that phrase, believe me, in this context seems a little bit almost like surreal.
Yeah, I said it with a smile.
Wait, is he pro climate change or against?
Well, he said that. Well, that was his reply. He said words to the effect of, "I'm not denying that climate change exists." So I said, okay. Well, let's see how you get on defending that claim, Gary. Do you have any scientific evidence for that which you don't discredit? So what's your reason behind your belief? In other words, what's your validity from science? If it's science that's saying this, where's their scientific evidence? But he also went on to say he's more interested in the socio-political aspects of it. It's like, all right, well, fair enough. If you're just out to make videos about what people think about this shit, then great, excellent input. Me personally, I'd prefer to focus on the fact that people are being swindled by pseudoscientists with the assertion that they're science and telling you what science says.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question, because I'm like, well, if you're against it, the first thing you would do is look for the scientific evidence validating it. I don't understand. But if you're just here to talk about the social aspect of it, then have fun with that.
SX0 says, could you be wrong? About what? There being no scientific evidence for climate change? Well, no, there is no scientific evidence for climate change. I am correct.
Climate change that used to be called global warming.
Oh yeah, that phrase
is the one.
I don't use that anymore.
Because it wasn't warming?
Look into the solar cycle, the solar, or what's it called now? I think it's called the solar cycle. We're going into the de minimis period, which is one of the cooling off periods from the sun. Goes against the idea that we're globally warming. That's probably one of the
Yeah, but
reasons.
before global warming was a thing, they used to say the big chill is coming. New ice age is coming. Which is it?
I think it was the artist Lowry. Used to draw pictures of scenery, and they were often industrial, with chimneys in the background and whatever. But he's got pictures from depicting the Thames when the Thames froze over, and the last time the Thames froze over was some ages ago, because the Thames just doesn't freeze over. It has to be extremely cold. But it makes you wonder, what was his reason for painting the picture purely artistic, or was there a political angle to it that we just don't realize because we just think it's art? An interesting concept that he's done.
I'd like to bring something up from a conversation I had yesterday with Paul, if that's all right with you. It doesn't have to do with this topic, but I'd like to bring it up.
Go for it, man.
Y'all okay with changing topics right now?
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
All right. So I want to get this all out before people stop me, i.e. QE, but it's about creation. So I'm not calling Paul out to, I'm not calling him out because I think he's wrong. We were having a conversation about creation yesterday. Was it you, Paul?
He just dropped.
He just dropped. Darn. Okay. Well, anyways, we were talking about the creator created, being natural antecedents. And he used an example of a human being and a clock, or a human being and a computer. So a programmer being on the outside of a computer, not being held to the laws of the program. And I said, well, that's kind of a bad example because a human is created. So if you use because the only examples we have of creators are things assumed to be created. So if the ontological primitive is that things are created by a creator, then creators also have to be created in that example. So
yeah,
I think
that's why it's called an analogy. And number two, ontological primitives are at the base. That means you can't go any further. So you just contradicted yourself in the statement by misusing it.
I don't think so, because
I just told you why.
The analogy is the only way it's the only reference to what you're talking about. So if the only reference we have
but if
to
something
a creator
is the creator,
is something that
it couldn't have.
Wait. This is why I want to get all that out. So and then we can talk about it. So my first assertion is that a creator must be created.
Wrong. That's where you're wrong.
Let me get it out.
That's where you're wrong.
That's fine. I'm fine. I'm just taking it one step further.
Listen to all this nonsense.
You can't go any further because your first statement is false.
The only creators we have access to are created.
Oh my God.
Let him talk.
Okay.
Kiwi.
Now
it's a
name
valid
one thing
point.
we have created.
Talking for the past 5 minutes, he's been droning. Let him talking on. Shut your mouth.
He is just. I agree. Every
Huey,
creator,
you're just as butthurt.
everything
You're
that's
just as
created
butthurt
things.
I'm not butthurt. You're just a moron.
You're butthurt.
Yeah. Fenris,
Yeah.
do what I told
You're
you
butthurt.
Guys, relax.
You are,
just
you're
have
triggered.
everybody was doing great. Let's just
You're
take
triggered.
it slow.
I'm triggered. My favorite color is
guys,
chartreuse.
listen.
You're angry. But you're a moron.
Okay.
John, can we
For
agree
pointing
that
out that your
everything?
example is a bad example? Because what's outside?
I just told you it wasn't a bad example.
Okay.
You're using an analogy. You're
saying-
taking the
saying-
analogy too far.
You're saying I'm wrong.
I'm
The
saying.
example is wrong.
Oh God.
I'm pointing out you can't use human beings as examples because
Yes,
human
we
beings are
can!
created. Human beings are created.
So what?
Name one
Concepts
name
are
one,
still
Can I
viable.
try? Can I at least
One
try?
thing-
Hello?
Hey,
Can I
name
try?
one thing we have created that goes on to
Wait,
create
He won't
other
shut up.
things.
Fenris.
He'll keep droning.
Fenris, can I at least try as it was
I
my
muted him.
analogy? In the example I gave where there's a computer program being created, everything within that world of that computer simply has one creator that created it. Now you're saying, in that example, yeah, but the person who's created the program within the computer was also created because it's a person. Well, yeah, I can't get away from that in my analogy, but it doesn't alter that in the analogy, we and all of our existence is comparable to the computer in that analogy. Therefore, in that program, it still only has a single creator that everything was derived from, and that won't change in that analogy. Yeah, when you step outside of that realm, which we couldn't possibly do by comparison when looking at the creator, that's an impossibility. We can't know outside of our own confines. Likewise, the Sims inside that computer program created by me, the creator of that program, still only have a creator.
In other words, he's telling you you have a straw man fallacy. Fenris. That's what he's saying.
I got him on mute, so let me know if you want me to unmute him.
No. Don't put him on mute. Leave him go. He's not. Stop putting him on mute.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, don't
Okay,
put
so-
Fenris on mute.
So having the creator, my assertion is impossible because having an absolute anything is incomprehensible because the outside, inside, those type of dualities, they only exist within our references.
Could you get to his point? To Nathan's point? You're straw manning the argument. He just explained
I'm
it
not
to you,
straw
and you
manning.
just
He was
whistled
talking-
past it.
He was talking about
I wasn't
the
done.
creator. Okay, sorry.
You are offering a straw man fallacy about the creator outside the system. It's a straw man. Nathan just explained it step by step. You just whistled past it, and you're back on your narrative.
I didn't whistle past anything. I'm addressing specifically the creator he was talking about. How can you have
Nathan, can you
an
explain it to him
absolute
again?
point?
You kind of are whistling past it though, because yeah, in his analogy, obviously humans are created, right? He said himself he can't get away from that. But that's not saying that the creator is created, because if it's the creator, he couldn't have been created.
No, I'm not referring to the infinite regress chocolate.
no-
Let me just try once
no
more. Let me just try once more. So, in my analogy, we here on Earth, with all of the rules and structures that apply to us, are analogous to the Sims inside the computer in my example. Now, for us, we can't experience the outside of the computer. But when we've got the analogy of a computer, with the Sims inside it never being able to be capable of realising that I'm the one making their world, for them, there's just, once they appreciate it like we're appreciating it in this conversation, they just have the notion that they are created, and therefore there is a creator at some stage for them in their computer box. Well, we're the same by analogy. We're in a box, and we can't possibly know the equivalent of a human outside of our box that's typing in code. We will never get to that point. But it doesn't alter the fact that the analogy with a man actually creating the program for the Sims to exist in the first place with all their rules is analogous to us in our confines with our natural laws applied to us and something beyond us that has clearly created the existence we experience within. Those two things are still a parallel, an analogy that is sound. But as soon as you remove it from my analogy and go, yeah, but inside your computer analogy, I can experience the man that's made the program, and I know he was born from a mother. Well, yeah, but in comparison, our world's equivalent to the computer world. The Sims don't know that I'm a programmer making them, and we're the equivalent to the Sims in this analogy.
Okay, I get that it works for what you're talking about. So if you're talking about the concept of the creator being on the outside, which doesn't make sense to me. If you're talking about it being on the outside of this, whatever this is, that's okay, I guess, if you use that analogy. But for me, if the only reference we have to a creator is the only reference to intelligent design we have, that we can say, here's the creator, here's the created. The creator in that reference is created. So wouldn't that be another antecedent, that a creator also has to be created in order to
No,
create?
that's an infinite regress fallacy. You're doing the same thing. You're not focused on the actual claim. The claim is the creator is outside that which he created. You don't understand that. So you don't understand that the programmer that programs the video game is outside that game, and the rules of the game do not apply to him. You're telling me you don't understand that?
I understand it, but we're using terms like outside.
Yeah. He's outside the game. The computer programmer of the game.
The outside creator is in an inside, a greater system.
No. In the same way, I'm not a sim. I've made the program, but I'm not a sim. I'm not inside the computer.
Yeah, but aren't you in a environment in a larger system?
Back to you as a sim being able to see me, the programmer, which you can't do as a sim. So
No, of course not.
Well, that's why
you
it's
as creator,
analogous.
But you, as the creator in the outside, are also inside something else. You
So
see
what?
I'm talking about?
Yeah, but so what?
So there's something greater than the creator. It has to be there. Something had to
Can't.
create
What?
you.
That's non sequitur.
It's nonsensical. I know.
I'm going to have to round out this live show. So if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on the Nathan Oakley channel, then this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to all of today's Discord and G+ panels for making this live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Well, I still want to try and get to the meat of this, because I'm just not understanding it very well. Because if we
today, dude, go to Nathan
Dude,
Oakley.
the guy that created Super Mario.
Don't tell me
right?
to go somewhere.
Yeah,
We have no.
Hey,
we
can
have
you hear me?
no,
Can you hear me, Fenris?
Go to the Flat Earth Debates on YouTube. Scroll down, like I told you yesterday.
Don't
the info
tell me
box
to
below.
go somewhere.
All right, dude, then just get out of here.
No, don't worry about. No, let him
to
in
do.
here. Leave him go.
Is my mic
What the
working?
fuck to do? Who
It
is that?
is chocolate.
Who is
Hold
that?
on.
Hey,
Right, there's three
leave him
conversations
go.
going on. Number one, right, for
Man,
my
I had a-
audience's benefit, not for Fenris, but for my audience's benefit, please suggest a video for my audience where they can go. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Pardon me. Any of the audience members struggling with the same situation can scroll down in the info link at the bottom of any of Nathan's videos to Quantum Eraser, Creator versus Atheism. Thank you.
Perfect.
That's great, Travis. Thank
think
you so much.
his
Hold on.
problem is-
I'm getting it in an order. Next, Chocolate. Go ahead, Chocolate.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Fenris is struggling with this, but like I was just trying to say, like the guy that created Super Mario Brothers, right? He is not bound by the rules inside that Mario Brothers game. He created the game, right? And Mario is in the game, and Mario has to run around and get the mushrooms and jump around and do all that. But the guy that created the game isn't bound to those rules. He's outside of it.
Precisely.
That
yes.
is correct. However, did the guy who created the Mario Brothers, was he also created?
That's a straw man. That's another argument.
Relax.
The analogy is we are. Hold on, everyone calm down. Everyone calm down. Hello. Everyone calm down. Hello. We are equivalent to Mario in this example. We're like Mario.
All right, that's fine.
All
but
right,
the Mario can say he was created.
Can he? Can he
we are
now?
looking-
So Mario knows he was created. No, he doesn't.
No, he can assume, just like how we are assuming.
Right.
He can assume he was created, just like how we're assuming we're created. But us being, in the same realm as the Mario Kart developer, we know that the guy was probably. We are assuming that he's created, right? Otherwise, we want to go with evolution.
Okay, Anon. But are we also simultaneously, like in my analogy with the computer, are we also sat in the heavens with God so we can see it from his point of view too, like we can in my analogy? If we completely remove ourselves from being the Mario character or the Sim character and suddenly go back to being the creator character, can we also do that in actuality and become God to see it from his point of view?
No.
So in my analogy, for fuck's sake, shut up! So in my analogy, we're only equivalent to the sim characters that cannot see beyond the confines of the computer. We're never in the position of the creator. Therefore, in analogous terms, we can't see beyond the program. But the program's definitely got a creator. That's the end of the analogy. You don't just then go, yeah, but I know in your analogy there really is a human being that was bred by another human being. Well, no, because you can't go, I can sit at the hand of God and see what he's doing. We can't get that position. And that's the point.
All right. Can I talk? But we cannot assume that our creator was the be-all creator of everything and he was not created.
Oh
we cannot assume that.
When
we cannot assume that our
when you
creator
say-
was
If he
not
was
created.
created, Anon, if he was created, then he wouldn't be the creator.
Not all at
Well,
once.
why would you think that he is? Why would you think that our creator is?
It doesn't
the
matter what
creator
I
and not
think.
Just another creator
It doesn't
in the
matter
mind?
what I think. It's about what you're saying. If something was created, it can't be the creator.
Okay. So we were created.
Yes, end of
basically,
sentence.
It's like a Russian doll.
that's another argument.
Eventually, you gotta keep going, and by you assuming that the creator of us was the creator, it's just being kind of short-sighted and just like, putting yourself in a favorite position. I don't know. We don't know who created. We don't know.
Perfect.
We're just
You've almost said
assuming.
it.
It's
Anon.
all assumption.
Anon, if you could ever stop with your verbal diarrhea, I could actually address something you've said. So you're saying it's like a Russian doll. So it's like saying, who created the creator's creator? Correct, Anon?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I just need you to say yes. You're one of those people that when I'm clearly leading you just to say yes, you take that as your opportunity to what? Make my point for me? That's got a title, Anon. It's called the infinite regress fallacy.
Yes, fallacy. Yeah, I understand that. But the point still stands.
Why is that a
You've
fallacy?
All creators have been created from our perspective. That's what we can prove. Everything that's been created from a honeybee, from a honey's wax, whatever, to an ant colony, to a structure. Everything that has been created was created by a creator. And we are
you said
assuming
in
that
our
we were created.
perspective?
So there's no way.
In our perspective. When are we going to have
It's
God's
not gonna-
perspective?
We're not going to see eye to eye in this ever.
When are we going to have God's perspective? Or the
We
creator's
don't, but we're not
perspective?
assuming. I'm not
Exactly.
assuming. I'm just
Exactly the point. Thanks.
So yeah, exactly. We don't know if our creator was the creator. You can guess that. You can assume that.
That's
But
not
go ahead.
exactly the point.
But the point here is that we were created. You cannot get away from that. Doesn't matter.
Sure. I'm not an evolutionist.
Hold on, that was an
definitely
excellent
not
point.
an evolutionist.
That was an excellent point. Who
So,
made
yeah.
that? Hold on. Who said that? Please repeat it. It sounded like SX.
I said, bottom line is that we were created, right?
Perfect.
Either way
Exactly.
is that we were created. What is outside of our knowledge, it's outside of knowledge, and we can speculate as much as we want. But the fact is, bottom line, we were created.
Right. Ergo.
100%.
Ergo. Creator.
That's what I've been trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me say this. So the whole concept of creator and created comes from our observation of humans and some animals, right?
Now we're back on. Here's the problem.
The
Let's get back
analogy
on.
is the whole
Hold on
thing.
a second. Let's get back on topic. Like I said, you're arguing whether you're aware of it or not, a straw man. So let's iron this out. You're arguing for a creator's creator. The initial argument is this. This is the claim. That the creator is outside that which he created. End of statement.
Yes.
That's it. That's it for that statement. So you agree with that. Now,
That's it for that
if you want to
statement,
go
yes.
to the next subject, arguing for a creator's creator, that's a completely different claim, completely different subject. Do you understand that?
I kind of don't understand why it's a different subject, because it's
sorry,
necessary. It's necessary for the creator we can see being
It's
us.
not necessary for the initial claim. The initial claim is the creator is outside that which he created.
That's okay. Okay, yeah. So that's a yes for that claim.
Then that ends that claim. That argument's over. Now, do you have another claim? Not attached to the analogy, but another claim regarding the creator.
My first claim was a creator must be created.
There you go. See, now we're on it. Good. Of course, that's an infinite regress fallacy.
Right, and I kind of want to address that because I'm not really sure what that is. Infinite regress fallacy.
Would you mind explaining the infinite regress? Because I don't know it well. I don't know the argument.
It's basically
Asking who
It's another one of those times. I heard him.
creator.
I heard him ask QE by name. I heard QE asked by name.
No. Everyone wants to do it right. Go ahead, everyone. You're QE.
No, please just let QE say what he says.
Like, just look up an infinite regress fallacy, gentlemen. Right? It's a okay.
Well, you
listen.
said it.
Okay, I said it. Let's just. Oh my God, who's talking for me? What does infinite mean?
Forever, never ending. More than you can count.
Yeah, there are many synonyms. Forever.
Okay. It never comes to an end, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, but end. Yeah. Okay.
You regress without coming to an end. That means there's always something before the thing that you claimed. It never ends.
Yes, but end is another word that needs to be addressed. Beginning and end, to me, I don't know what that end of one type of state. Because what is an end here in the natural world?
Oh my God! The end to your claim.
Okay, so, or was that a
It's
joke?
fallacious. That means you're going around in an infinite circle. You'll never come to a final stopping point where you establish anything.
Correct. What is an end?
Okay, I get it.
What is an end?
I'm not good. I'm not sitting here defining end. Sorry.
So that means
Well, it has to be defined. It's a human
just
concept.
hold on. I understand
wait.
that means that you can go on and on and on and on and never actually get to anywhere.
Exactly.
Thank you, Kiwi.
It's
Thank you,
it's
Kiwi.
asking
didn't
You're
who
welcome.
created the creator's creator, who created the creator that created that creator, created the creator.
It's
It
it's
just
not
go
my
on
fault that
forever.
on
But
It's an
Earth
the
infinite
problem is,
regress
it has to
fallacy.
stop.
or the egg?
It's an
Yeah, but it
infinite
has
regress
to
This is
stop
a Richard
when it
Dawkins.
comes to
It's a Richard
the
Dawkins argument.
creator.
It's just Richard Dawkins redux.
Okay.
Okay,
It's not my
so
fault
a chicken
that
laying
due to
egg is an
that
infinite
claim.
regress fallacy because it keeps doing that in a loop. But we see chickens, they
Okay.
lay eggs, so it loops happen in nature all the time. So you can say that this whole God's creating other gods.
How did that loop start?
Hold on,
You know,
there is an answer.
it's a loop.
Someone asked me that question. Which came first?
Perfect example.
What is a start?
Go on.
When your father, I don't want to say the word, your mom, and you started it. That's a start.
Bounce,
That's a
wow,
start.
wow.
For
That's a
you,
start.
yeah.
You
For
just
you,
talked
yeah.
But
about-
see, you get
You're talking
infinite.
about the start of
It
a
goes infinite
specific
regress when you say,
process.
"Oh, well, somebody had to create your father."
What they're talking about is the creation of the
And
universe, not
the
two people
mother.
having sex.
Hold on. Are we clear? Is everyone clear that it goes round and round in circles forever? Who created the creator's creator? Well, the creator created the creator's creator. But who created the creator's 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 creator? Well, the creator created the creator's 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 creator. But who created that creator? Well, the creator created that creator's creator's creator.
Just like your family line. Just like your family
It
tree.
makes
Who
me
created your uncle?
No,
or
no,
your
no,
grandma?
no.
And then
Oh
your
my
grandma's
God.
grandma.
Not
And
clearly
grandma's
not trying to make a
grandma, and your
conclusion
grandma.
here, am I? No, clearly.
none.
Time for
Stop.
non-stop interruption from a non. Not in the middle of a conclusion or anything here, no. So I haven't just stated that just to state that. So ultimately speaking, when you reach the conclusion that it's an infinite regress fallacy, it goes on and on forever, you then come back to the first point, which by analogy was that we appreciate we are created. Ergo, there is a creator. End of statement.
Okay. Let me answer this because per the I don't know how to say it. The concept that there is only one creator. Okay. Again, from what we experience, creators are created.
From our experience with our rules in our system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
but that's
the creator
only
sits
known
outside
place.
of that. But the creator sits outside of those rules. In the same way Mario's got to eat mushrooms and stars.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our world. Yep. We've got to eat food and breathe air. Like Mario's got to eat stars and mushrooms. But me as the creator of Mario, I'm not. Doesn't have to eat stars and mushrooms. But I can change the program and be involved in the program such that I can change stars to ice creams if I so choose. But I'm in no way affected by the rules of that system. So saying, well, in our system, something's got to come from something else. Breeding. Well, that doesn't apply to someone outside of the system they created.
Yes, but this system is the only system we know of. So we can't assume that...
Okay.
But the fact that we can create alternative systems, it should tell you that the moment that we realize that the creator is outside of our of the rules that we have, that infinite regress has to end, because he can be the, we don't know at this point. I guess it's all speculation.
That's what I'm saying, is we can't know because
That's
it's
it.
not knowable.
As long as
like
we
y'all
can
are saying.
Yeah, but we
agree that we're just assuming.
Wrong.
You're wrong.
Y'all just said
You're
Mario
forgetting
can't
about
know
the
his
ontological
creator.
primitives. You're forgetting about the ontological primitives.
Aren't those
You're forgetting the
primitives,
question.
Aren't they based on the analogy of a human?
No.
What are the ontological primitives in?
Nature created us or intelligent design created us?
I don't know.
And
Well, you have
nature
to
and
go to
natural
the laws.
phenomena cannot
You
create
have to
Guys,
go
shut
to,
energy.
up. Let Kiwi ask me something. Jeez.
you have to go to the laws of thermodynamics. For your first question, here's the first question you have to ask. Is what we call the universe and us, did it have a beginning? That's the first question that has to be answered.
I know.
Go on, Fenris.
What?
Did we have a beginning? That's the question you're being asked.
A beginning. I'm not sure how to define beginning, but
It's unknowable.
Well, you see what
come on,
you're
guys.
doing?
No, we
Guys,
can't
this is
know.
hard enough.
You're not
Listen,
answering
It's
anything,
not.
man.
hubris
Whoa,
of thinking that
It's
you
guys,
can
practically
determine where we all
Fenris is
started
practically
is kind of
begging you to let him have a
So-
conversation unimpeded, and I'm helping him along.
So
It's not the cue for
the
everyone.
universe is now a storybook that we can just. Oh, look! Here's the end of the book.
It's okay. You can say I don't know. I don't know if we had a beginning. That could be your answer.
I don't. I don't even know what a beginning is. I mean, I could say I know what a beginning of a book is. It's the first page. But I don't know the beginning of a
the
life.
universe. That means before the beginning, it did not exist. After the beginning, from the point of beginning, it then existed.
That makes no sense to me.
The question.
Wait. So that would be like I'm here and there's no computer, and then I build a computer. Is that what you're saying?
No.
No. Because that would be the start of the computer, correct? Is that a good reference?
Did the universe have a beginning or not?
I don't know would be a genuine answer.
Well, that is a position or based on an argument from ignorance. You don't know, but we actually do know based on the laws of thermodynamics. Here we go. The first law of thermodynamics states nature or natural law cannot create or destroy matter or energy. The second law of thermodynamics, all spontaneous processes result in an increase in entropy of the universe. Since the total amount of matter and energy is constant, first law, and the amount of usable energy is decreasing, then we must have had a beginning. So I just answered it for you. We had a beginning. Can we establish that?
First, I have a question.
You said matter cannot be created.
So
the very first law.
wait. You said that. What did you say? Matter and energy is always constant. The amount.
Yes.
Yes, it's the first law of thermodynamics.
How can it be being used up if it's always constant?
No, the amount of matter and energy. I'm talking about the dispersal of energy.
Prove it.
Can I give,
wait.
Can I give clarity to that, Fenris?
Sure.
When we describe entropy, it's describing the dispersion of the energy, not the amount of energy. In other words, if you've got 5 particles of gas in a box, and then you increase the size of the box, the total amount of energy remains exactly the same. But the entropy, has increased. So the dispersion of that energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's spreading out.
Yeah, but the energy itself remains the same, but the dispersion of the energy, the entropy has increased.
So the amount is the same, but the volume, the dispersal is increased.
Yeah, that would be entropy, correct.
So how? Another genuine question: how does that mean it had to be created?
We're getting to that point here in a second.
Sure.
See, what you're doing is you're These are incoherent red herring fallacies. I don't know if you realize that you're doing it, but you're doing it.
Guys, stop talking when other people are talking. You can hear them. I know you can. Shut up.
Oh, I can't hear them.
Yeah, we can. They're
okay. Yeah,
Fenris, what you're doing? It's almost impossible to discuss this.
Continue. Sorry, what were you saying?
We're stuck in the hedgerows here. You keep on straw manning, then red herring falsing your original claim. Let me say this one more time. The first law of thermodynamics. Nature or natural law cannot create or destroy matter or energy. The second law of thermodynamics states that all spontaneous processes result in an increase in entropy. Since the total amount of matter and energy is constant, and that energy is increasing in entropy, then there must have been a beginning. So, was there a beginning? Is what I'm asking. That's the first question that must be answered.
Sure. Could you repeat the second one you said? I think you said spontaneous.
All spontaneous processes result in an increase in entropy of the universe.
Okay, so I think I'm starting to get where you're coming from now. So, a spontaneous event would be something like creation.
Anything that happens in nature is spontaneous processes.
Okay.
We're dealing with natural law. The laws of thermodynamics are natural laws.
Have you got a
Wait
question?
a minute, QE, did you hear what you just said? You just assumed you're talking about creation. So
Hold
you just
on,
missed that
everyone.
entire
Hold on,
premise you
whoever
just
that
gave.
is. Can you shut up? Do you have a question?
He was correct, even though you interrupted. Yes, he's correct.
Fenris, did you have a question you wanted to add?
Yes. So
go ahead.
I think I'm starting to get where that is. So because entropy is increasing, which means expansion, it had to have come from somewhere.
He almost said started, didn't he?
Yeah,
started.
It had to have a beginning. Where it was at its lowest entropy state.
I have a question.
Okay.
Because entropy doesn't go in reverse.
Okay, this is part one. This is part concession for a beginning. This is step one. I know this is hard for everyone else who's listening in and desperately wants to add their 2 pennyworth. So, do we have a concession? There must have been a beginning.
Yes, like there's a beginning to making a computer.
I guess we could go with that, even though
fine.
we're delving into the realm of the non-natural, right?
Okay.
But yes, before the computer existed, it didn't exist.
Yeah, fine. QE's used entropy. You're using a computer. So long as there's an almost agreement of minds here, fine. That's step one. So there was a beginning. Excellent.
The next question is, who or what is the cause of that beginning?
Who knows?
That's where the ontological primitives come in. That is, there's only 2 worldviews. Philosophical naturalism and idealism, in other words. But I state nature or intelligent design. There's only 2 choices. We got to iron this out, too. Right? Do you agree that there are only 2 choices for how we and the universe are here?
I'm not entirely sure, but
I disagree, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Since you were talking about the laws of thermodynamics, since nature can't create, then it would have correctly. This system would had to have been created.
Hold on, you're getting one step. I know that's where we want to lead you, and I'm grateful you've said it, but that's one step ahead. So at the moment, we're just getting concession in regards to whether or not you appreciate that we either have an intelligent design or everything born out of nature. But so we're not yet at that conclusion for the ontological primitives. We're just trying to tie down whether or not you appreciate they are the only 2 choices.
Correct. I wouldn't assume to know what that intelligent design or designer is.
That's not the question.
That's okay.
I'll just ask the question.
Sure
I'll just be concise. Do you appreciate that there is only two choices? The choices being...
Yes, I appreciate that.
Fine.
I concede it.
Okay. And then the third point is the death knell. You flip right back to the first law of thermodynamics. Nature or natural law cannot create or destroy matter energy. Therefore, by disjunctive syllogism, there must have been a creator.
Yeah. I actually believe in that there is a creator.
That was productive. Fantastic. Right, everyone, go nuts.
Can I ask my question?
You went first. Go ahead, the one.
Before QE shut me up, I had a second point that I never got to get to.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, the one. You can wait. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I said my first assertion was a creator must be created, and I stand by that. My second assertion was name one thing we have created that has gone on to create something from autonomous intelligent design, i.e., name something that we have created that has become a creator.
Cars?
Cars create
No.
You haven't created anything to begin with. Are you serious?
Yeah,
it's gone straight back into... I've just got to point out what's happened. So you've gone straight back into working within the parameters of Mario then. We're now dictating what the creator is based on what Mario experiences.
Well, if we're created, then we create things, correct?
Yeah, so Mario creates...
We're not the creator.
Yeah, but so does Mario. Mario can make levels and stuff into various games that he has, but that doesn't make him the creator, and it doesn't mean that any of the rules applied to Mario apply to his creator.
Okay, so you're saying that here, only in this place, a creator must be created, and only in this place, our creations don't go on to create things.
But they do.
But our creations, hold on, our creations are inanimate matter.
What about a son or a daughter?
What about a son? I was gonna say
No, hold on.
That's called procreation. That's not a creation.
Right, exactly. Who said that?
You know who this is. I'm snatching
like
souls.
Pillbox.
Pillbox.
Oh, Pillbox. You're all over it, man. That's correct.
If I can make a recommendation to you.
No, you can't. No, the one is next. But I don't know if we've concluded our points with... his name on bloody screen now. Sorry, I'm really sorry. Fenris.
Yeah. So what y'all are saying is that, inanimate matter, okay, so we were created, then how are we creators if we don't create things that are living?
Get your own
How
dirt.
would we be defined as that?
Hey, get your own dirt.
What in the world?
Nature is creation, correct?
This calls for a joke. Can you tell the get your own dirt joke, QE?
I just stepped off into Bizarro world, Fenris.
This place is Bizarro World, dude.
Just
okay.
I'm begging you. Do you know the joke I'm talking about?
Don't ruin the progress that you made.
It doesn't matter. That's okay. There's a joke that's very applicable here. Do you know the joke I'm talking about,
anything.
QE?
I'm inquiring.
I don't even know what your claim is.
I said my claim is that we do not create things that go on to create. Yet we are the analogy for the creator and what we create.
That doesn't. No.
It's intelligent.
Oh my god.
Well, y'all use examples.
We're stuck on page 1.
Y'all use examples like a guy programming a game.
It's an analogy.
I know it is, but it's the only reference point. We can say we know we're created, but we can't say what rules apply to him or whatever it is.
No, you're right.
We can't. Because we don't have his perspective.
Right, that's right. We can't. That's correct. We can't say what rules are applicable to him. Correct. Or him being an anthropomorphization. But there we go.
Yes, Mario will never know what the guy who created him is doing right now. Mario just knows his
Right.
world. He's got to run around. He's got to get mushrooms. He's got to save the
I know.
princess.
Correct.
To be
Right?
fair,
That's all
Mario's
Mario
world.
knows.
Mario's not
So
AI.
they
He doesn't
use-
know anything. It's actually just a piece of script that's running and showing some pictures on the screen. So it's
Exactly.
really
And it was
that.
created and put there. That's the whole point.
Correct.
Right?
But as we talked about,
Even if Mario was programmed to think, Mario could only think in his world.
Mario doesn't think. We are thinking.
Okay,
Mario does
fine.
not think. Mario
No shit. I just said that.
There's people waiting to get
I
points in.
just said that, Anon.
Okay,
all
guys,
around.
hello. Can we not argue about what Mario can and can't do? It's only part of an analogy. So the one, I know you've got a point that you want to make. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the second law of thermodynamics. We're told that all available energy is running out or dispersing. Where is it dispersing into? Was this written when they were observing the microwave background radiation and the
System.
idea that space is expanding?
Well, are you talking about in their Ball Earth narrative or generally? Generally speaking, into the system that is available for it to disperse into. If you're talking about the entropy of your house, well, the house is surrounded by its environment and it will decay into the house. That's entropy, increasing. Well, if you're talking about their fundy narrative about where gas is going to expand into, well, none of us would be breathing if the sky was a vacuum. Entropy would increase, the sky would disperse into the vacuum, and we'd have no gas left.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of my points. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that the guy that created Mario and Mario itself, they both will succumb to entropy. But the guy that created the person will not. So that's the creator.
That's a funny story.
Here's one. Can I help? Maybe. If the creator, and I'm not defining who this creator is, created time, space, matter, energy, he can't be the same thing as those things. Because if he created it, he's not the same. It's not the same. Just like if I created a computer program, I am not like the computer program.
Perfect.
So God has to be outside of time, space, matter, and energy if he's the creator of it.
And with that, I'll say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Again, a massive thank you to all of the Discord and G+ panels for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!